Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dark Times with Dark Mad Steve. Welcome. It's about to be a freaky show tonight. Drop your pants. Hope you're lubed up because you might be getting probed tonight, baby. That's the kind of stream we're having tonight. Oh, yeah. You read the caption, the title correctly. Did Egypt find ancient alien technology under the pyramids? I doubt it. No, we'll see, guys. I'm excited. I really haven't even looked into what the fuck this. I've just seen a few things I've scrolled past on wherever, Twitter, wherever the hell, and it looks very interesting, especially the little diagram thing that I included in the thumbnail. Very intriguing. But I don't understand what the fuck we're even looking at in those pictures. We're going to truly be learning this together, unless you've already looked into this. You better not be looking into stuff without me. I'm packing a bowl. Don't mind me. It's also that kind of night. Gonna need to hit this bitch. So, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? How's it going? I'll say hi to the chat. We'll say hello to everybody trickling in here. And yeah, we'll get right to it. Anyone coming in here expecting me to comment on any situation related to the BRN, you're just going to have to wait. We're not talking about the situation right now. Okay, we're looking at this tonight. I know there's some people here expecting me to get into the situation with Rhett. Look, I will talk about it tomorrow, I think. You know, we've seen let me get to the chat page just so that I could start responding once I see people in here wanting a response on stuff. No, I don't know. We could talk about it a little bit tonight, I guess, but I think it's pointless. We may as well wait until tomorrow. Look, we all saw, I'm sure most of the people in my chat that are Bubba Army, you guys saw the stuff on Facebook or wherever, Reddit. I'm sure Rhett is going over to Reddit now. This good, you could call it Reddit. But okay, we're starting off really. I'm working up here. We're warming up. Sorry, I am actually a crackhead. So, no, guys, I don't know what to tell you. We gotta wait till we hear something tomorrow. What can I say? There's been people texting me about this and stuff, and I don't know what to tell you at this point, guys. I wonder if they'll even really get into it tomorrow. I don't fucking know, man. I hate to hear it though. You hate to hear fucking Rhett is going. And we were all under the impression that things were sort of on good terms now. I mean, at least that's the impression that they seem to try to give off. And I just know once I start getting that feeling of like, oh, I guess everything's okay with the BRN. that's about when it starts going bad. So there's always trouble in paradise, guys. You can never there's no such thing as having complete peace and closure and everything. So I don't know. I don't know I don't know how many times I'm going to say I don't know. We just got to hear what they say tomorrow, if they even bring it up. And if they don't, if no one talks about it tomorrow, then I guess, we might not even get into it much over here. But you guys heard correctly. Rhett, I think, according to Rhett on his Facebook and according to some Bubba Army groups on Facebook, Rhett is officially gone. Today was his last day at the BRN. And I mean, it's just weird because Bubba and Rhett had their most recent little headbutt episode where Rhett said, Rhett said, "Okay, I'm done." They were talking about some fucking sports bullshit or something. I don't know. Bubba and Rhett were kind of going back and forth, and he said, "Okay, I'm done." I think it wasn't it about what's it called? The Super Bowl halftime show. Wasn't that it? Kendrick Lamar. Rhett was righteously defending Kendrick Lamar, as Bubba said that Kendrick isn't mainstream enough. Bubba was saying that Kendrick Lamar is niche. It's like they had Guar do the fucking halftime show, and Bubba thinks that they're niche. I don't know. I wouldn't even bother arguing about that. But anyway, I think that's what the most recent thing they butted heads about. And Bubba got really pissed off and it looked bad. I know Brian from Philly had called into Bubba's show and he was angry because fucking Bubba, got pissed off and seemed like he was firing Rhett. Then they said everything was okay, da 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 da. And Rhett wanted to take some vacation hours or something and like take a week off. And so Bubba said, "Oh, okay, well, we'll all just take a week off, and so things seemed like they were okay, right? We all thought Bubba was being really nice to Rhett and letting all of them take vacation time and not it wouldn't count against, they get a certain amount of vacation days. So yeah, everyone was under the impression that things were okay-ish, but I guess they weren't. So we'll have to go over this tomorrow. I'm sure they'll mention this on the show. I don't see how I don't see how that's not going to happen. Either they're going to talk about it by 8:30 or someone's going to call in and ask about it. I can almost guarantee that. Holyoke Joe, if they don't talk about it by 7:30, 8 a.m., you need to place a call there, buddy. Somebody. Because we want answers. We want to know what happened. I don't know. There's already people texting me that, oh, no, 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 Bubba's a piece of shit. Bubba's this. And I'm just like, guys, I don't know what, I want to defend both sides. I like Rhett a lot. He's very talented. He's always been really fucking nice to me. So, of course, I want to defend Rhett. But, Bubba, even though I've kind of butted heads a couple times with Bubba, not really, but I'm not an employee. I don't butt heads in any serious manner like it would be for an employee to. But I want to defend Bubba too. So we just have to see what they say tomorrow. We'll talk about it here at least for a little bit, I guess. If they do a segment, we'll go over it. But there's some other stuff from the show that happened today that I actually want to go over. So it might be a Bubba based show tomorrow. Oh, funny thing, guys, I ran into Romina at Sprouts. That's how I knew today was going to be a weird day, is when I ran into Romina at Sprouts. Very weird. But it's good to know Dr. Dan is eating good food. Dr. Dan likes to pretend he's just chugging Monsters and eating chocolate, but his wife is buying organic stuff at Sprouts, so don't let him fool you. He is eating healthy. He just has a couple little cheat snacks and stuff here and there in the middle of the night. All right, guys, let me say hello to everybody. We'll get started here. Fucking don't know what to tell you. Stacy G's up in here. Bob Cook, lovers, thank you. Ferg Don over on the Rumble. Thanks for joining us, fam. So, yeah, tonight, guys, we're on Facebook, YouTube, and the Rumble. Please hit the like button everywhere because I need the help, guys. I'm fighting algorithms. Fucking, I put up a cool little video, which we might go over, but it's the part from my re-education training that YouTube thankfully supplied me with training so that I could learn the terms of service better and stuff and be a good streamer. That's all I want, is to obey the rules and be a good streamer. Thank you, YouTube, for the policy training. I did a little compilation of the high spots from the policy training, guys. If you want to go check that out, that's on my YouTube and I think Instagram. That's the only places I have the full video posted. I'm gonna put it up on Rumble though, but I was gonna wait until after the stream because Rumble will literally take like 3 hours to upload a 10-minute video. It's so weird. Promo code Lummy is up in here. What's up, lover? Thanks for joining us. Snizzook Slizair is in the building. Ladies and gentlemen, alert the press. Michael Earl's in here. Fucking Keith Yager. $100 on the what is that? The Venmo? God damn. Keith Yager. Dark Times with Dark Match Steve, sponsored by Keith Yaher. God damn, Keith Yaher. Thank you, bro. God damn. I owe you so much, man. I guys, I appreciate so fucking much when y'all throw a few dollars my way. For real. I really do slave away. Last Friday, I almost didn't get on stream because shit, I just had a long fucked up day. Today, I almost didn't get on because my buddy is going through some shit and whatever. But you guys know I love to hang with you guys and actually try to take my schedule seriously a little bit, even though I know I'm late, a few minutes late often. But I've really tried to be consistent and do 5 nights a week on here and bring you guys good parody songs and shit. I really, really appreciate all the support. Yeah, and besides the financial shit, I know you guys take your time to hit the fucking like button, and my page is constantly growing. I really fucking appreciate it, guys. I can't tell you enough. Keith Yaher, thank you so much, man. Fucking especially when we're all, I don't know, spirits aren't exactly up. The red situation sucks, man, but I really appreciate the positivity and all that. If anyone else wants to throw a few dollars my way, again, streaming ain't free. I gotta fucking pay for StreamYard and premium Twitter to be able to stream. But if you want to throw a few dollars my way, I know what you're thinking. I've hit the like button. I've subscribed, but I want to do something else for Dark Match Steve because he's just such a fucking worker. He's grinding. You can do that at PayPal. I'm Dark Match, DARKMATCH. And on Venmo, I am Dark Match Steve, DARKMATCHSTEVE. So yeah, guys, I really fucking appreciate it. Thank you all so much. Rainy's up in here. Thank you guys for the support. Hit the fist, I mean thumb for DMS. Whatever you got to use to hit that button, cock slap it, do whatever you need to do. I don't care. Just hit that button. Thank you, Rainy. All right. Donald Ferguson's up in here. What's up? What's up? Yeah, do you guys like the intro song? That's one of mine too. I save that for special nights where it actually fits, like it's I don't know how to explain what world music. I don't know what you would call that. I just wanted something exotic and for like megalithic topics and whatever, so I made that shit. Did you hear about Rhett, bro? Yeah, we all heard about Rhett. Rest in peace, Rhett, again. Rhett got the shaft, and I'm not talking about the kind Steve gets. Oh, well, I was happy for him until I found out he wasn't getting shafted the way I like getting shafted. Full his for the stream. Thank you, sir. Franklin Hawks is up in here. Caught that Despicable Kenneth song. What, Dirtbag Kenny? Steve claps cheeks. I did this weekend. I clapped some cheeks. I was really happy. I wasn't expecting it either. I was woken up by cheeks clapping. Johnny Fradley's up in here. Hysteric Eric. What's up, guys? Thank you so much for hanging. Smart, DMS. Tomorrow is smart. Yeah, well, what am I going to even say, guys? What am I going to? We don't know anything. We know everybody knows the same shit of what's happened so far, right? So, I mean, what am I going to even say? Um, Rhett painted himself into a bad corner. Dude, look, I've had multiple people texting me about shit. I don't, what, it's sort of like, I'll say this for thus far, and I don't think this is going to get me in any trouble or anything. I'm not being mean spirited or whatever the fuck. But, I don't think any of the fans like to hear that Rhett is going. I think most people liked Rhett. He's not as over as Lummy, which no one will ever be. Gene thinks he's as over as Lummy. No. No, sorry, buddy. Go ride your motorcycle a little more. We got Lummy here. He has a torn esophagus. Okay? He's really put in the hours and the blood, literal blood, sweat, and tears. Lummy is over, not Gene Lasker. But anyway, guys, what we heard what happened with Bubba on the air. Is that something that any of us, if we had our show, would we be like as upset that Rhett sort of like seemed a little disrespectful that time? I don't know, guys. It's hard to say. But when you when you butt heads with your employer and on this level of like kind of being disrespectful, you cross them a little bit. It's like Bubba could be extra graceful about it and keep him around and until something else happened. They've butted heads a few times, guys. I don't know. We don't know what the fuck's going on behind the scenes and what things seem like to Rhett as he's interacting with Bubba and everyone else at the BRN. But it's sort of like we all heard, unfortunately, we've all heard enough of what happened on the air that as an employer, Bubba has the right to fire people when he wants to. And what we heard, it's like, again, I don't want to think that I would fire somebody over something that seemed that simple and stupid. Arguing over Kendrick Lamar. That is, you hate to have anything important get fucked up because you're defending Kendrick Lamar. I hate that for Rhett, okay? There's artists that are worth getting fired over, and Kendrick Lamar isn't one of them. I'm sorry. I don't care how many Grammys. I don't give a shit. That's just facts. But anyway, guys, we want Bubba to be more graceful and as nice as possible to employees that are truly valuable. And Rhett has helped a lot over there and stuff. But we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I understand there's people that are upset, but I do have to be fair here. I don't know. We have to be charitable to both sides here. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So we'll hear the show tomorrow, see what the fuck they get into, if they explain, if anything gets, whatever, guys. Bubba's show is like, it's still like the best show. Even when he was off of the air, for the week when they were off, it was like I went again to where I was, scrambling to find some bullshit to listen to, and then a lot of the time would end up not listening to anything or putting some random shit on. It's like it's a lot of emotional investment to be fans of such a good show, guys. What can you say? It's we all, everybody watching this, the majority probably know what I'm talking about. It's just like, it's got a cult following. We're all emotionally invested. And so that it's even harder when Bubba gets, there's a fruit fly in here. When Bubba gets rid of employees or something, we've all emotionally invested in them because we love the show so much. So it's hard, guys. It's hard. You know, it sucks, man. I feel really bad for Rhett, but guys, Rhett is really talented. The stuff he does with him and Gary Cantrell, all the work that they've done with the video editing stuff and what the kid's talented. And he seems like a really good dude. I don't it sounds like he's fired, and I'm assuming it has something to do with him and Bubba butting heads a little bit. It's probably safe to assume he didn't steal $250,000. So at least at least it's like we can still say Rhett is a good guy. He's a good dude, and he will probably get himself into something that whether it's related to the BRN or not, Rhett will probably do just fine out there and get himself into something productive because he's a talented guy. It's not like fucking Bubba fired Decap or something, and we're all like, oh my God, he's probably going to off himself because that guy is completely useless to society, okay? Except for like writing jokes about him or something. It was like, Bush as president. Like, yeah, you want a president that you can laugh at, but are they going to do anything but get us into wars? Speaking of which, there was some shit leaked with Trump, right? Should we get into that? Steve should be the BRN Parody Artist of the Decade winner. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Philip Anthony's up in here. Jesus, I'm not even traveling fools. Yo, 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 yo. What's up? How's it going? All right. Damn it, I missed the good shit. What are you referring to? What was I talking about 15 minutes ago when you put this? What? Yo, ball infection Steve, how's that brown little button doing? What the fuck does any of that mean? Bro, Pat O'Brien, what are you talking about? Please explain that. Was Romina wearing yoga pants? What the fuck was she wearing? Dude, I went to the chicken. They have the pre-made chicken there at Sprouts. And that's literally all I went for at Sprouts because I like to eat that for lunch a lot of the time. They got the pre-roasted chicken. And I'm walking up to the chicken thing, and on the other side of the heat rack where they have the chicken, I see fucking Romina with her, eyebrows and everything, looking all pretty and stuff. And I was like, what the hell? That's Romina. And I'm looking at her, and I have a Bubba Army hat and a Bubba Army shirt on. And I'm pretty sure she saw it. And she just kept looking at the chicken. And then when I got up to the thing, she was there for like 2 more seconds and walked away. And then I saw her at the checkout, and I was on the other side of I was on the self checkout. We were both doing the self checkout, and I saw her on the other side, and I was like, I don't know if that's really Romina, because guys, I've never talked to her. I've seen her at BARP. I think I've only seen her in person like once or twice. So I was like thinking, I don't know if I should even talk to her or what. I don't know. But I was like, I'll say hi. And then I walked around the corner where she was standing there at the self check, and I was like, Romina? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, hey, I'm a big fan of the Bubba Show. It's good to meet you. And she's like, oh, I see that. And I had the Bubba Army shirt and the hat, and she almost looked a little like, oh, cool. Yeah, you're Bubba Army. Cool. like, like fuck off. I'm ringing my stuff up. Could you fuck off? No, but just barely. I barely got a slight vibe of, oh God, now I have stalkers because Bubba talked about me on the radio. You know, those kind of vibes. I got those vibes a little bit from her. But then I told her, I was like, "Hey, I'm Steve. I'm one of the guys that does some songs for the show." She's like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "Well, it's good to see you." And she's like, I forget what she said. She probably told me to fuck off. I don't remember. But anyway. Yeah, I saw Romina at Sprouts. Holyoke Joe's up in here. What's up? What's up? I played Can't Put Down the Fork for my friend. He didn't laugh, so I played it again. That's what you have to do with some of my parody songs. They work well as like POW torture type of tactics. You can play them 100,000 times for somebody and it starts to melt their brain and then they start to laugh. Don't worry, I went live until you started just to hold them over. Oh, cool. Thanks, Holyoke Joe. I appreciate you being here, Holyoke Joe, because the fat pig apparently quit me. No, I'm hoping the fat pig is okay. I'm going to text him maybe tonight or something. I'm very busy, but I got to hit him up. I hope the fat pig is actually just mad at me. I know that sounds like it could be interpreted wrong, but I hope he's mad at me and that something else isn't wrong, like something worse. And that's why he's not in my chat anymore. Yenzer's up in here. What's up? What's up? I got to pop a toothpick. It's that kind of night. Rhett posted a black square for George Floyd, brother. Rhett is a follower, bro. What the fuck? Rhett. He should have been fired for that. Oh, wow. Is Rhett gone from the BRN? It sounds like it. What do I like better, construction work or flower shop? I think I do prefer flower shop, but construction is nice because I've learned a lot of shit. There's a lot of stuff that I can do for my own house that I won't have to pay somebody for. And that's very, very helpful. So, yeah. Jack Mahogoff is in here. Okay, we're finally down to the goddamn bottom. Jesus Christ, guys. You need to have the fat pig call you again. What do you mean, live on the air? Zyn. I'd be down to try some of those nicotine Zyn deals or whatever, but I really do like the toothpicks, guys, because this is just nicotine and vegetable glycerin. It's just such simple ingredients. I don't have to worry about anything funny going on, or I'm a lot less worried about that. It's a fucking toothpick with nicotine and glycerin. The fucking even the nicotine gum has a bunch of chemicals, yellow 5 and bullshit in it. I just like whatever. I rather stick with the picks. Okay. So, where do we start with this Egypt bullshit? So guys, I've always been very I've been focused on a bunch of other bullshit. So I haven't been keeping up with Egypt stuff as much, but I've been so interested in Egypt for a long time now. Probably ever since seeing the movie The Mummy. And this was back when Brendan Fraser was like kind of hot. He was kind of sexy, a little bit sexy. You used to think about going to Egypt and getting butt fucked by Brendan Fraser inside one of the pyramids. That was one of my fantasies when I was growing up as a little kid. And so anyway, I've been interested in Egypt a long time. Always thought it was very interesting, wanted to know more about it. And then, of course, being a fan of Joe Rogan, I stumbled upon Graham Hancock and all his crew of guys fucking and there's all these alternative theories on stuff. Now, it might actually surprise you guys how just certain facts about Egypt. People assume a lot of shit about Egypt, including the so-called experts, which is just very surprising. Once you actually hear what some of the experts say and see some of the debates and stuff like that between like the Egyptologists and certain archaeologists that go there, like Robert Schoch, right? That's his name, right? Yeah, Robert Schoch of Boston University. He was a professor at Boston University. And this is the guy who went with fucking God, what was his name? The little old dude that died with it like 2 years ago or something. But anyway, he went to Egypt. Robert Schoch was convinced by what's his name? Let me look this guy up because I'm forgetting his name now. John Anthony West. I didn't have to look it up. John Anthony West. He went to Egypt. John Anthony West is like I don't know what term you'd even use for. I don't follow that guy that much. He's like an alternative archaeologist kind of guy. He explores different megalithic sites and stuff like that. He saw the fucking Sphinx in Egypt. Okay, he went there and said, "Oh my God, this looks like older rock. It looks like it's been eroded for a long time by weather, and something's just off with it. The head's been recarved multiple times because the head of the Sphinx in Egypt the proportion does not match with the body. The head should be almost twice, like at least 50% larger to match the proportions of the body of the Sphinx. Now, the thing about why it would only be the head carved back a bunch of times, there's various reasons for that. Um, and Sorry, I'm listening to a conversation happen outside my door. Anyway, the fucking there's weathering on the Sphinx. Now the experts just explain it away and whatever. The problem with there being water erosion on the Sphinx is because there hasn't been enough rainfall in Egypt since the Egyptologists say that it was built. But these alternative theories for the Sphinx say that we don't know how evolved, how what kind of technology that they had in Egypt at the time that the Sphinx was built, and we don't know exactly what time the Sphinx was built. This ties into the Younger Dryas theory, the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis, where people think that there was an earlier stage in human civilization where people were building megalithic structures and shit like this, and those people got wiped out, the majority of them, by some apocalyptic flood type of situation or something like this. And this ties into the Sphinx because they think that the Sphinx was built before 11,500 years ago. That's around the time when the Younger Dryas impact happened. The experts say that the Sphinx was only built like 4,000 years ago. So it's almost, it's like more than double the age of what the experts say the Sphinx was built. There's the Giza power plant by Ryan, I think it's Ryan Dunn. Anyway, this is one of these guys. He is he's an architect that goes to Egypt. He brings all these kind of tools that measure level and all this kind of shit, and they go up to the granite and put this digital level on it. And I mean, this is like they've laid some of these and carved some of these stones in Egypt to be Christopher Dunn. Thank you. Ryan Dunn is from Jackass. Christopher Dunn. Damn, Donald Ferguson. I appreciate that. The Giza Power Plant. Yeah, I think that's his book, Christopher Dunn. But yeah. So this guy thinks that the pyramids are actually part of, it's some kind of power plant type of system, may or may not be involving water that is like heated, that might be related to fucking steam and crystals and bullshit. I don't fucking know. But back when these alternative theories, they think that Egypt, basically the whole may not have been the entire pyramids were completely finished, but 11,500 years ago, a lot of these people think the basic work around Egypt, around the pyramids and the Sphinx and everything, they think a lot of that was already finished, and underneath was different systems where water would be pumped through under Egypt. Because I'll show you guys, we'll get into I'll read an article, we'll pull up a fairly mainstream article of this, and I'll show you guys some of the interesting stuff in Egypt that is just not generally known by the mainstream. Resonance, vibration, and frequency. Yeah. Well, so this is an interesting thing, guys. What do you know the Great Pyramid, right? So they have the King's Chamber and the Queen's Chamber. I think the Queen's Chamber is underneath. I get them mixed up, but there's the King's Chamber and Queen's Chamber. One is up here in the pyramid, one's down here. They're like over 100 feet difference in height, but of course you can't go straight down. The fucking tunnels go like diagonal and shit. Anyway, the King and Queen's Chamber. Why do they call it the King and Queen's Chamber? A lot of people would assume that that's because of the mummies that they found in the King and Queen's Chamber. And there are boxes that are about the size of what a sarcophagus would be inside of the King and Queen's Chamber. But what mummies did they find in the King and Queen's Chamber? None. So they're calling this the King and Queen's Chamber, implying that the king and the queen would be preserved inside of the pyramid in these chambers, in these tombs. But they were no bodies found. The majority of the mummies come from this one area. I forget what it's called. Oh, man, I should have brushed up on all of this shit. But yeah, no mummies were found in the Great Pyramid. And it is mainstream assumption that the pyramids were built just to house the dead. But you have to think about that. Something as grand of an undertaking as the pyramids, that someone would build something so insane, we can't even duplicate the pyramids now. It's millions of fucking stones that weigh tons. And it's something that the modern engineers don't even want a job like that. Okay. And they say it took at least decades. Probably, I think they say around 20, 40 years. I forget how long they say, but either way, with the rate, according to the mainstream, the rate of putting stones there, they say you'd have to carve and place one stone like every minute for like 20 years. It's just like almost 40 years. Is that it? I couldn't remember. It's 20 or 40. I think it is 40 years. But and I forget, there's the Khafra and Khufu, right? Isn't it Khafra they say the big one was built by? I know more of the alternative theories than the mainstream, in fact, which is actually quite a bit of a disadvantage. But it's the alternative shit that got me interested. So, I'm grateful for it. So let's bring up an article. We'll read through what the mainstream is saying we got here, and then we will look at some other interesting stuff related to Egypt. Okay, hold on. Okay, so they're saying it's a hidden city, a hidden shitty underneath Egypt's Giza pyramid. All right, let's look at Daily Mail first. This is from a day ago. Wasn't there a New York Post thing with a video in it? Does this have a video? Okay, let me bring you guys with me here. God, fucking StreamYard. StreamYard very subtly changed some things, and I don't do good with change. Okay, scientists who discovered vast city underneath Egypt's Giza pyramid reveal new secrets about the mysterious structures. This shit looks so fucking weird. So if you saw the shit in my the thumbnail, Holyoke Joe, I like that. I bet DMS could take a 2,000-foot shaft. Oh fuck. That is pretty funny, bro. The shafts the shafts go deep in Egypt. Um all right, let me get down here. The mystery of an underground city beneath Egypt's pyramid deepens as scientists, uh, have shared new details about what may lie more than 4,000 feet below the surface. Guys, 4,000 feet. That is insane. A team of Italian researchers claimed they uncovered giant vertical shafts. Oh yeah, that sounds sexy. This is dark match after dark here. Giant vertical shafts erect, wrapped in spiral staircases, and a massive limestone platform containing two enormous chambers with descending channels resembling pipelines. During a news briefing released Saturday, the researchers said a water system had been identified beneath the platform, located more than 2,100 feet below the Khafra pyramid, with underground pathways leading even deeper into the earth. The team used radar pulses to create a high resolution image deep into the ground beneath the structures, the same way sonar radar is used to map the depths of the ocean. While the bombshell claims have been dismissed by other experts as false, including Zahi Hawass, who was the leading Egyptologist in Egypt for a long time and got in some trouble with allegedly, Zahi Hawass stole some artifacts or something. That a lot of people do not trust Zahi Hawass, but this is one of the the leading experts that claims this is all bullshit. And he was also wrong about Zahi was wrong about some other thing that they found, I think in the Sphinx or something. So this guy has his head up his ass. He's looking for artifacts in his own asshole. Um, When we magnify the images in the future, we will reveal that beneath it lies what can only be described as a true underground city, said Corrado Malanga from Italy's University of Pisa in a statement translated to English. The scientist's work, which has not been peer-reviewed by independent researchers, has also suggested that the Pyramid of Khafra might conceal undercover secrets, notably the fabled Hall of Records. So yeah, these I've heard about this a bunch too. This is something supposedly there's a hall of records. Yeah, they thought it was beneath the Sphinx. I remember they found some cavity beneath the Sphinx, and I remember Graham Hancock was hoping that this was like the Hall of Records. So it's a legendary concept often linked to ancient Egyptian lore. It is believed to be a hidden chamber beneath the Great Pyramid or the Sphinx, containing vast amounts of lost wisdom and knowledge about the ancient civilization. So they're looking for scrolls. Okay, so here we got some diagrams, guys. Let's take a look at this. I'll blow this up so you guys can see it better. Um, underneath the Khafra pyramid. Guys, this is insane. I'm going to show you guys some stuff in a minute, so stick around because we're going to take a look at something cool related to Egypt that I can almost guarantee you guys have not seen. So I used to really be into this shit. So just stick around. I'm telling you, it'll be worth it. There's a reason people are so into Egypt, and it's like, guys, even if, let's just say you're like, I don't like conspiracy people, I don't like conspiracy shit. I do like listening to the experts on stuff and not getting too fantastical and fucking, crazy with theories, and that is fine. Even if you believe the experts, what they claim is the true history of Egypt, even if you believe that, there is so much mystery in Egypt. I'm just like, either way, even all the alternative shit could be completely false, be proven false, and I would still be obsessed because it's just so interesting. Whether it's aliens or some ancient culture or something, whatever took the time to build the fucking pyramids in Egypt, that is just so fucking intriguing. I mean, the craftsmanship that you see in Egypt, there's not enough people that actually go and get up close and personal with the construction methods and stuff in Egypt. There's one guy, and I'll show you guys later. One of the guys is Brian Forrester. This is a guy that's sort of into the alternative theories regarding Egypt and old megalithic structures. He's very into this guy is always reporting news on elongated skulls from Paracas and shit like that, which is very intriguing too, because he makes interesting points about the seams in the skulls being different. Like there actually might be something weird going on with the elongated skulls besides like body modification, which is really the theory of what the experts think is all the elongated skulls that you see. It's just body modification. They'll tape their fucking head to a board when they're a baby and it makes it grow longer and stuff. It's interesting because these guys supposedly have these real skulls that have different seams in them. A human skull, if you tie it to a board to make it grow funny, it's not going to change the seams in the skull, in theory. Everybody has the same kind of seams in their skull if you're a human. And some of these elongated skulls look a little funny, so there might be something going up with that. But anyway, yeah, Brian Forrester. His name is spelled. That might be the right spelling. I think his name is spelled kind of funny. I forget. It's not how you would intuitively spell Brian Forrester, if I remember correctly. But we'll look into that, guys. He's got some really good videos. I'm hoping I can find the same ones that I saw before. But Brian Forrester gets really close to the stones with his camera and shows you guys the stonework. It doesn't matter if it's humans or aliens, guys. The stonework in Egypt and some of these fucking places, Machu Picchu and Ollantaytambo and stuff like that. The stonework in some of these places is incredible. You cannot fit a hair in between these stones. And there's a lot of cases with the building techniques where the average person would just put fucking you'd have like cube shaped blocks, your standard cube shaped blocks, and you just stack them together in a way that it makes a fucking flat wall. It would just be cube to cube to cube, and then another row, cube, cube, cube. But they cut all these like specific corners to where the stones have this weird lip on them, and somehow still built this thing perfectly. And it's just like it's mind blowing. So I'm going to show you guys some of that shit after we get through the articles. Let's take a look at this shit. I know I'm rambling a lot, but I like this subject. So Here's a little diagram we got underneath the Khafra pyramid. So yeah, the Great Pyramid is this one. The Khafra is the one in the middle, and this is where they found. These are the three pyramids in Egypt that depending on who you ask, they line up with Orion's belt, which is intriguing too in consideration of the timeline. But appear to be vertical shafts. We've got 8 vertical aligned cylindrical structures arranged in 2 parallel rows from north to south. Descends to a depth of more than 2,100 feet. So this, I can tell you guys, Christopher Dunn is coming in his pants when he sees this picture right here. 2,000-foot shafts that seem to have spiral staircases underneath. That is fucking nuts. So let's look at this. Professor Lawrence Conyers, a radar expert at the University of Denver who focuses on archaeology, told DailyMail.com that this is not possible for the technology to penetrate that deeply into the ground, making the idea of an underground city a huge exaggeration. Let's see what his problem is with this. If it's if there's a lot of hollow space, maybe it still would go that deep. Let's see. However, he suggests that it is conceivable. Small structures such as shafts and chambers may exist beneath the pyramids, having been there before the pyramids were built because the site was special to ancient people. So this is one of the theories. If Graham Hancock, if you catch him in a moment where he's being charitable to the mainstream theories on Egypt, this is one of the things he says, that the pyramids themselves, so there is evidence that there was construction done on the pyramids in the time of Khufu and Khafra. He agrees with that and says that probably a lot of the work on the pyramids were done during that time, as it is arguably recorded in history. There's different what do they call them? The fucking not the Yardang things, but anyway, there's different what do they call the insignia thing? It'll almost be shaped like the military dog tag, the fucking it'll be like this shape, and it'll have a name or something chiseled into it, and then they assume that whatever that label is, basically putting someone's name tag or something on shit, and they assume whatever is there that the name tag is on is supposed to be attributed to that that person having built it. But yeah, even Graham Hancock says maybe they did work on the pyramids, but the general layout of the Giza Plateau, where a lot of this is located, the main layout of it and all of the groundwork was already laid by the time Khufu and Khafra came around. That's what bare minimum, if he's as much as you can get him to agree with the mainstream, that's about as far as he will let them push it. He highlighted how the Mayans and other peoples in ancient Mesoamerica often built pyramids on top of the entrances to caves or caverns that had ceremonial significance to them. So there is stuff like this that does exist in Egypt. There's I forget which one it is, guys. I should have studied up on this a little bit more over the weekend. But there is, I think it's the Red Pyramid, I want to say. I don't remember. There's one pyramid where there's actually a structure that is inside of the pyramid, and it has weathering and stuff on it. So you can tell there was a structure that was built like thousands of years ago, probably over 10,000 years ago, or so. It's something that has erosion all over it, and it's located inside of a pyramid and the structure is, built into the ground. I think it might have actually been carved out of the limestone there. So that shows that they did have structures there before, and they did build pyramids around them. So this is interesting. Mayans built over caves. Okay. The work by Malanga Filippo Biondi from the University of Strathclyde in Scotland and Egyptologist Armando May was previously discussed only in an in-person briefing in Italy this past week. The project spokesperson, Nicole Sicolo, what's up with all these fucking names suck, shared a new video Saturday of them discussing the research that has yet to be published in a scientific journal where they would need to be analyzed by independent experts. The team focused on the Khafra Pyramid, one of the three pyramids of the Giza complex. The other two are Khufu and Menkuru. Did I pronounce that right? Menkuru? Why is this here now? Stop. Okay. All three are believed to have been built 4,500 years ago. Okay, so and this is about the time that around the same date they give to the Sphinx. But again, this is argued that that's not true because of the water erosion that seems to be on the Sphinx. They sit on a rocky plateau on the west bank of the Nile River in northern Egypt and were constructed in the name of a pharaoh. That's what they say, guys. Of course, that's not. I don't know. Again, I haven't looked that much into the mainstream explanations as I should have, but if there is any steel manning done by the alternative people, I've not seen any very convincing, strong evidence that all of this stuff was built 4,500 years ago. It is surprising how little some of the experts know when they are dealing with Graham Hancock laying shit out. I mean, I've gone over this on my podcast years ago, but Joe Rogan had Graham Hancock, Randall Carlson, and Michael Shermer in his studio to debate all this shit. The whole thing was Michael Shermer said that it started on Twitter, which a lot of fucking beefs that end up on Joe Rogan's show, a lot of it starts on Twitter. Graham Hancock was spouting off his shit about alternative theories, and Michael Shermer and his friends on Twitter were going, "Oh, dude, you're so full of shit. You know, you don't have evidence for this. You don't have evidence for that." Michael Shermer got his ass handed to him by Graham Hancock in Joe Rogan's studio. And it was a fucking bloodbath. It was incredible. And I clicked on that video. This was like over 10 years ago. I clicked on that video to see my buddy Graham Hancock just absolutely be made a fool out of. And it was the exact opposite. Graham Hancock was just ferociously out debating Michael Shermer on every fucking thing. It was incredible. All right, so let's see. They sit in a rocky plateau. Okay, the vertical shafts identified underneath Khafra were about 33 to 39 feet in diameter. Wow. Located at a depth of at least 2,130 feet. The team suggested that the structures could be supporting the pyramid. We did calculations and saw that the Khafra pyramid is incredibly heavy, and to hold it up, it needs a solid foundation. Otherwise, it will sink. Jesus Christ, that is fucking nuts, guys. Guys, this is insane. I feel like this helps the alternative people out so much, because if you think about the experts, we already talked about this. Someone brought it up in chat. The correct number is 40 for like the Great Pyramid. They say it was built, I forget if it's this one, the Khufu or Khafra pyramid, but they say it was built in 40 years, guys. When the experts say This was built in 40 years. They only accounted for this part. This is what they said. Oh, yeah, 40 years? Yeah, they cut and placed one 3-ton block every minute for 40 years straight. And it mathematically, that's possible. So, yeah, we can account for this. What happens when you find 10 times that amount of work done under the pyramid? Then who built that? Your fucking mainstream theory only accounts for the big fucking things sticking out above the ground. And now we found incredible structures underneath the pyramids. How do you guys are going to just rewrite your whole timeline and say, oh yeah, whatever. It's still only 4,000 years old, even though we found double the construction work underground now. It's still only 4,000 years old and was built in a few decades. Yeah, right. Don't make me go over there and start digging through the fucking sand. Okay. But you guys see my point though, right? So all of this this is what we thought existed of the pyramid. Just this part. Okay? If it is true that all of this exists underneath, the mainstream has got some problems on their hands. The Egyptologists have some problems on their hands. This is why a lot of them are rejecting this, because then they have to admit that they've been teaching people wrong all this time. We had the timeline wrong. Sorry, guys. This was started 100 years earlier, because this is completely improbable to think that we have double the structure and we're going to say it was still built in the same amount of time. A team claimed they discovered 8-cylinder shaped So yeah, this is just laying this out. Pictured is a scan of the shafts underneath the pyramids. The vertical shafts are about 33 to 39. So this is what the scan actually looks like. During the press briefing, team explained that they sent radar signals from 2 satellites positioned about 420 miles above Earth into the Khafra pyramid, allowing them to analyze how the signals bounce back. Pictured are hidden structures identified inside the pyramid. This is fucking nuts, guys. I can't believe I'm living in this era to see the mysteries of the pyramids grow even deeper. This is really crazy. Below the shafts, the team identified 2 massive rectangular enclosures, each measuring approximately 260 feet per side. According to the researchers, each of these enclosures contained 4 shafts that extend from the top and descend downward. During the briefing, the team showed an image created by the pulses that capture the Khafra pyramid on the surface along with the shafts. The image also includes a complex luminous structure with distinct vibrations, which they believe is an actual underground city. Bro. Holy fuck, man. Existence of vast chambers beneath the Earth's surface compared in size to the pyramids themselves has a remarkably strong correlation between the legendary halls of Amenti, Sicolo said. Malanga and Pam Bondi, no, I'm just kidding, guys, published a separate peer-reviewed paper in October 2022 in the scientific journal Remote Sensing, which found hidden rooms and ramps inside the Khafra, along with evidence of a thermal anomaly near the pyramid's base. What does that mean? Thermal anomaly. Wow, look at this. Okay, so the team claims this scan shows a vast city hiding beneath the pyramid, shown in luminous colors. This is under the pyramid. Bro, how fucking big is this? New study used similar technology but benefited from the satellites orbiting Earth. During the press briefing, team explained that they sent radar signals from the 2 satellites. Okay, we read that. Signals were converted into sound waves, enabling them to see through the solid stone. This method helped map hidden underground structures in 3D. Readings were completely consistent, ruling out any chance of misinterpretation due to sound reflections. Since each satellite observed from a different angle, their results must align for us to consider the data reliable, he added. If something appears in one satellite scan but not in the others, we know it is a false signal or an artifact. No pun intended. All right, let's go back. Wait, was there a video here or not? Is it just ads?
What was that?
Unhandmade! Man should never consent to crawl when he...
Bro, what the fuck?
For your home and your range.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Bad boy mowers will tame any terrain.
Sorry, I'm not dealing with that. We're not dealing with that. Bro, what is wrong with you? Pat O'Brien, Steve Daddy, what color panties are you wearing? I'm soaking wet. I'm wearing white Calvin Kleins right now. They are not panties, though. It's men's underwear. All right, where was the experts debunk it as fake news? All right, let's check this one out. How do I fucking ads? God damn. Oh my God, it's ads everywhere. It's this whole thing is ads. Oh my God. There's a vast underground city below the oh my God. Underneath Egypt's Giza pyramid, scientists wild theory claims, but experts debunk it as fake news. Huh. Bro, I'm sick of the ads. I'm so fucking sick of it. Holy fucking shit. Look at all this. Look at all this. Is this a real video?
Most doctors recommend daily walks because of the many health benefits associated with walking.
Morarji Desai became the Prime Minister of India, the first Prime Minister not to belong.
I'm getting trolled right now. This is fucking retarded. All these pages just have ads on them. Hold on a second, guys. Let me see what this article, because I found a good article. Which one was it? Oh, I just farted. Okay. This is supposed to be the article. What the fuck, man? What is with these ads? Bro, it's nothing but ads. Play, go. I fucking hate my life. One of two ads. DoorDash, something I will never use. Finest Resorts, I don't have money for a vacation. Thank you for all these fucking bullshit ads. Bullshit, bullshit. I don't have kids. I don't have a wife. I don't like massages. I don't like eating out at dinner. Fucking A, man. Let's go. Guys, look how fucking big this is. Look at this. Look at this. Those stones take like fucking 20 people to lift one of them. Look at the little people up here. Dude. That's really what I'm saying. I'm at the point where I fucking appreciate of course I got interested in Egypt somewhat because of alternative theories and stuff. At this point, I'm so impressed by all of it that whether it's aliens or just regular fucking people that built it or some other race of people that got annihilated through the Younger Dryas impact, it doesn't matter which of those options it is. This is just incredible stuff. All the people that built this incredible shit are dust. They're all fucking just dust. Thousands of years ago, bare minimum 4,500 fucking years ago, people were sweating their balls off out in the desert building something this fucking incredible. This, like, I have to go to Egypt, guys. I can't stress that enough. I have to go.
With Miller Mock College's online programs, you can learn here, or...
Is that really all we got? I'm so fucking over you. I wanted to see a video where they explain the debunking. Is there a video in any of this? Oh, they're talking about Zahi Hawass here in this one. Expert issues scathing statement about fake news hidden city beneath pyramids of Giza. Egyptologists and archaeologists have said the research is overstated. A war of the ancient pyramids in Giza has erupted after one of the world's leading Egyptologists labeled a study claiming to show an underground city beneath the complex as fake news. Hold on. Where did... Can I pull this up on here? I'm sorry, guys. I have... I saved stuff in different spots. This is a Brian Forrester thing. Maybe I can bring it up on here. Hold on 1 second, guys. Let me see. Messages. Okay. Let me bring up this video because this was recommended by Brian Forrester. So let's see what they say in this one. So this tab, okay. All right. Jay Anderson. I don't know who the fuck this is. Let's go.
Just how significant I am struggling to express in words just how significant of a discovery this is. What has just been announced in relation to the pyramids at the Giza Plateau and the plateau itself is so incredible, so awe-inspiring and narrative shattering that I have been sitting here for the last hour trying to wrap my head around the implications of what we were just told. So this is pretty much breaking news because the new findings were announced on the 16th of March at a press conference held by the team who was studying the Great Pyramid of Giza with a non-invasive technology that was first developed by Filippo Bionde and Corrado Malanga, called synthetic aperture radar Doppler tomography. So this was used to explore the internal structure of the Great Pyramid of Giza. And this method leverages the analysis of micro movements typically generated by background seismic activity to achieve a high resolution, full 3D tomographic imagery of the pyramid's interior and subsurface components. The recent findings from deploying this technology are nothing short of mind-blowing, because what's been discovered is that there are huge structures coming down from the base of the pyramid deep into the bedrock, in fact over 600 meters deep, which then connects to structures that extend up to 2 kilometers below the surface of the ground. 2 kilometers, massive internal structures connected to the base of the pyramid and extending deep down. This is what we know so far.
Oh, cool. Well, I guess the mainstream guys, they'll just have to rewrite history and pretend that this isn't a big deal. And yeah, it was all built in 40 years. Cool.
Utilizing high-resolution radar images from Capella Space and Umbra, which are 2 private companies that specialize in satellite-based synthetic aperture radar imaging. This has allowed research.
So is this LiDAR shit, is this not the same thing that they used in the Amazon? Didn't they just found within the last like year or two, right? They just found all this shit in the Amazonian forest, the cities, right? They were like, who went over there? The Spaniards, or I forget who. They're these people that explored the Amazon decades and decades ago that said this had to be like early 1900s or 1800s, I don't remember, but they said that they explored the Amazon and there were all of these fucking cities. They claimed there was just incredible big cities in the Amazon, and then by the time people went back to explore again, it was completely overgrown. So they thought none of it, they thought it was just fantastic tales by fishing stories, basically. And these LiDAR scans proved that these stories were true, that there were vast cities in the Amazon.
Researchers to create a 3D model of the internal structure of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Now, this model has revealed a previously unknown chamber with 5 horizontal levels and a sloping roof, which in of itself is an architectural design unlike any previously documented in the Giza Pyramid. But the most shocking discovery lies beneath the surface. Below ground level, radar tomography has identified vertical cylindrical structures extending for hundreds of meters beneath the pyramid. There are 8 of these cylindrical wells arranged in 2 parallel rows, descending to an astonishing depth of 648 meters. Even more intriguing, at the base of these structures are 2 massive cubic formations measuring approximately 80 meters in diameter. The tomographic data suggests that these are vertical wells with intricate spiral pathways. Now, this design not only implies a functional purpose, but also a level of sophisticated engineering that completely blows the dynastic Egyptian model out of the water.
Guys, this is incredible stuff. If this turns out to be real, I mean, how much does this fuck up the mainstream representation of history? I don't know. I'm not that big on architecture and stuff. I'm a complete idiot and barely know what I'm talking about anytime I open my mouth, pretty much. But so I'm very interested to see this in terms of building techniques and stuff. I mean, right, that archways and stuff are like associated with Roman times being built then, right? I mean, are we going to actually see some kind of building techniques under here that had just never been seen before? Because this is a common theme too, is lost technology with some of these alternative theories. And whether you think it was aliens, regular humans like exist today, or some other race of people that were really fucking smart that didn't see the apocalypse coming and accidentally got wiped out, that they had some kind of different technology that we just don't understand. This is a theme, the lost technology. And whether you think it was either of those three groups, we don't know how they built the pyramids, guys. There's varying theories, but there's no technique that has been peer reviewed and proven to be the way they actually built the pyramids. So no matter who you think built them, it is lost technology, right? Because we don't know how to build a pyramid as big as the fucking Great Pyramid that is aligned perfectly. The stones are perfect to where you get to the top and it's just comes together perfectly. No modern architect even wants to fuck with a job like that.
I mean, the pyramid itself was already a massive red flag in the ancient Egyptian historical narrative. But now, with this discovery, I think it's become impossible to say that the Egyptian civilizations that we understand, that we've been taught about, were responsible for building these structures. And
dude, this is great. That's what I was saying at the beginning, guys. How can the mainstream account for this at all? It's impossible. Even if we give the mainstream, we give them that, yeah, the pyramids were built in 40 years by Khufu and or Khafra and fucking whoever even if we give them that, their timeline does not account for all this, guys. This is actually incredible if all of this pans out to be what the LiDAR scans seem to imply that it is. This is incredible.
Doesn't even end there. The radar analysis extends beneath the entire Giza plateau, revealing interconnected structures beneath not only the Great Pyramid of Giza, but also those of Khufu and Menkaure. The subsurface network reaches down to a staggering depth of approximately 2 kilometers. 2 kilometers. This is not possible, given the standard historical and archaeological narrative.
Look how fucking big these things are, guys. Look at this shit. This is fucking nuts. And what they're saying is built underneath. If the animations and stuff, the models that they are showing, if they are in any way proportional, like properly proportional, just think of those fucking cylinders underneath here going for hundreds of feet under all this fucking sand. This is fucking nuts, guys. I'm sorry. I'm geeking out right now.
Given to us about ancient Egypt. Now, I'm hearing that there is more to come. There is a 4-hour presentation that's going to be released by the research team. This is what I'm hearing. That's going to go into every detail of their findings. This has essentially been a strategic release of incredible data ahead of time to get people interested. And I am more interested in this than basically anything else right now, because this is by far the most provocative piece of evidence for not only a potential technological explanation for the purpose of the Giza complex, but it also provides the most extraordinary evidence for a pre-flood era civilization that was flourishing in a way that we can scarcely comprehend. It's also possible that this spiraling cylindrical series of structures are staircases. And I can't help but think of the channeled writings of Thoth the Atlantean, the Emerald Tablets, speaking of a lost hall of records, a sacred hall of knowledge below the Giza Plateau, the halls of Amenti, Could this be the lost Hall of Records from the pre-flood era? Now, obviously, this discovery is extremely controversial. It runs as a complete contradiction of the established narratives and status quo in mainstream academia on these issues. This will cause big waves throughout the academic and the wider world if they can fully evidence these findings. But the results so far seem pretty clear. There is obviously significant structural engineering taking place deep below the pyramids and the Giza Plateau in general. Has this changed your mind on the pyramids? Has this strengthened your position on what they might have been? Has this new discovery given you any new ideas about what the implications are? Let me know in the comment section below. And honestly, everyone, share this far and wide. This is such interesting stuff. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll just have to see where this goes, because rest assured, I'll be keeping a very close eye on any coming announcements and updates on this issue. This plays directly into one of my main interests, which is, of course, prehistorical civilizational implications. What was going on before the global cataclysm? Well, I think...
Dude, this is crazy because... It's nuts. Okay, so I have not read the Giza Power Plant, the Christopher Dunn book, but I've heard a lot of people talk about his theories with the pyramids and stuff, and how he thinks the Giza Power Plant, if you go by the title alone, and then you look at this picture, guys, this looks like some kind of battery or something. Like this looks like the fucking springs inside of something when you pop a AA in there, and one of the sides has a spring and the other side has a nipple. I mean, this is about as crazy and intriguing as anything could have been found under the pyramid. This is actually really nuts, guys. So... let me bring, now that I'm full hard right now, let me edge you guys a little bit more. I'll X that. I guess... do we want to read some more of this? Because it's talking about Zahi Hawass, or Hawass, I don't know which. Egyptologist Zahi Hawass has rubbished what they claim to have found, causing a bit of clash in the realm of historical studies around ancient Egypt. Hawass is a large name in the world of ancient Egypt, having founded the Zahi Hawass Foundation for Antiquities and Heritage, a foundation he established to teach Egyptians hieroglyphics, archaeology, and history of Egypt. Specifically under the Khafra Pyramid, the Italian research team... okay, so we know about spiral staircases. Not peer-reviewed. Guys, just look how big this is. That is so incredible. That is so fucking nuts, man. Dude, look at what this guy is willing to say and hang his hat on before. This is the thing. People are excited and we want to see more data. And then there's people like Zahi Hawass who want to completely sweep this under the rug. Why? There's something going on under the pyramid, right? I mean, is he just thinks this LiDAR stuff is fake? I'd like to make a statement regarding the news that was published all over the world by a group of amateurs. The news was under the pyramid of Khafra at Giza. They found a platform topped with pillars. All this information is completely wrong and has absolutely no scientific basis. In addition, the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquity did not give permission to any individuals or institutions to work inside or outside the second pyramid. Dr. Awas added, in addition, the claim that a radar was used inside the pyramid is false. These people who announce this wrong information, they use techniques that are not approved nor validated. The details announced would never have been seen by using this technique. Yeah, and this guy they cited in the other article saying the technology they use shouldn't be able to penetrate in the way they claim. We'll see what happens, guys. So this isn't this is interesting, man. I don't know enough about any of this shit to say who's wrong here, but this is actually fucking nuts. The Egyptologists are claiming the technology can't even do this. Why would a whole fucking group of people who want to take themselves seriously as scientists, why would they hang their reputation on making something up like this? Someone just made this up. That's what they want us to think. All right, let me take you guys at least to, it's 9:44. I can at least show you some cool shit. Let's see here. Forster, yeah. So his name is BRIEN FOERSTR. STER. It's spelled weird, guys. Hold on a second. It's Saqqara is the one I'm going to show you guys. Serapeum. I know that's spelled wrong. Oh, hold on. I found it. Okay, guys, let me show you this shit. This is the kind of shit that they just don't even, unless you go digging, you won't even hear about this. Some of this shit. Oh, I don't have the thing pulled up. Sorry. Let me bring the tab. This fucking gay ass ad for. Will pass to what? Egypt underground, the enigmatic Serapeum of Saqqara, guys. Look at this shit. This is what I'm telling you. Sound audio buff. What, is there something wrong with my audio? Holyoke Joe, it might change your mind. Just take a look at this because this is actually incredible stuff. I know you just like to fuck with me and that's cool, but take a look at this shit. This is actually really interesting. So this is like, we look at the LiDAR scan or whatever the fuck, these new scans, and it seems really crazy, fantastical. Like there's a lot of stuff going on underground. Oh my God, we thought it was just pyramids above. Look at this shit, guys. So this is Brian Forster. He does actual tours in Egypt. He'll take you over there. They do groups of like 20 or 30 people, I think. So I guess what they're looking at here is like a diagram or a model of the layout under there. People don't realize how much is going on underground in Egypt. And this is some of these people have theories that back then it was Egypt wasn't all dusty like this and dry. There was a water system underneath some of the structures in Egypt. That is one of the theories with this. So keep that in mind when you're looking at this.
Challenge of cutting this into the middle. Moving inside within the tunnels with megalithic blocks that weighs tens of pounds. So we know we calculated a block that weighs 50 pounds, we're going to need at least 2,000 men.
I forget the guy's name, but the guy talking right now is actually like, I think family members. He's related to some of the like main people that teach hieroglyphics and Egyptian languages and shit.
And there's no
power box installed over here.
So part of the thing that's interesting with the Serapeum in Saqqara is these boxes. Guys, you'll see these boxes that are down in this Serapeum. This is all underground. And these boxes are like hundreds of tons. They have hieroglyphics carved into the outsides of them. But the outside, besides the hieroglyphics, the outsides of these boxes are the most smooth, polished stone you could ever see in your life. And these boxes are big, bigger than something you just put a person in. And I think the mainstream says that they buried bulls or some fucking shit, and it sounds like bullshit, that they buried bulls in these things. Again, I don't think that they have any mummified bulls to prove that they were in there, but just look at this.
To make all the difference, what we see
Did you see when he went by how flat and perfect some of these are?
here was not the bedrock.
That's not a box. This is just a stone. You got to stay tuned for the boxes, guys.
Because you can't accomplish lots of work in the open with the right amount of people. Because to gather 2,000 people to drag a block of stone is not an impossible job.
So this guy's explaining it takes like 2,000 people to move one of these blocks. If we go by the techniques that we assume that they had back then, this is like unfathomable tasks. And they're moving these boxes through narrow chambers underground like this. Look at this.
But to have this done inside the tunnel, that's crazy.
So are all these in their original places?
Yeah.
How we know this is beauty?
So we can see here one of
Look at the Yosef Alyan. Yosef, that's what his name was. I remember. I think that's this guy.
the boxes in the Serapeum rough, with the rough surface. If we follow the Egyptological way of polishing this one, then we will be having few men with sand and rocks polishing the surface. If this works anyway, there's still no space for these men to work.
Guys, how is this even possible that they fucking move these in here?
So when we see the other ones also inside the chambers that's finished, how would this be finished if you don't have space for the people to be working around?
Okay, guys, so he's making a subtle point here, but so this is a common theme among people that have alternative theories, is like some other group of people made most of this shit, and then normies, the fucking during dynastic Egypt, which is the mainstream narrative 4,000 so years ago, those people found all of this stuff, okay, and maybe moved some of it around and whatever, but they didn't make all of this shit. So the point this guy's making right here, Yosef, he's explaining how this box here, this is not polished and finished. This is not a finished box. You'll see when we get to the I'm guys, please stick around because this is actually really interesting stuff. The other boxes that you will see, like I described, they are smooth, polished, perfect stone. You can like see a reflection off of them. They're so perfectly polished. And they have hieroglyphics added to the outside of some of the boxes, which we'll get to explaining some of the intricacies with that as well. But his point here is this box is in this little space and it's not finished. This is the thing. There is no room to finish this box in the position that it's in. So this is one of the theories, is that they moved some of these boxes, probably reused some of them as sarcophagus, probably put mummies in some of the boxes and stuff because they didn't know what the stuff was meant for. But this is an unfinished piece. So it's almost as if something was rushed and or other people tried to move some of this shit around because they didn't know what it was for. But this box is not finished. You'll see the rest of them. It's really interesting because with this the way it is, you saw on the one side. Hold on. You see here. There's no room on the side to work around this.
In the original place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we know this is big.
So
That's one box there. There's maybe room to do that.
we can see here one
Look on the side of this. Look.
of the boxes in the Serapeum rough with the rough surface. If we follow the Egyptological way
Look at this side. How are you going to even...
of polishing this one, then we will be having few men with sand and rocks polishing the surface.
Yeah, so he's explaining if this is done the way the mainstream says, you'd have a bunch of guys here sanding and polishing the outside of this stone to have it done in some. It's not like one person's going to polish this. You're going to have a whole crew of people polishing, trying to get it done, because that's a lot of polishing to be able to get that rough stone as perfect as the ones that they find in these other chambers. So look.
If this works anyway, there's still no space for these men.
Look, how do you get in here to polish this? Look at where the shadow is hitting the wall. There is no room to get back in there and finish these.
To work. So when we see the other ones also inside the chambers that's finished, how would this be finished if you don't have space for the people to be working around? Basic and simple question.
So here, Yosef, is one where the lid has been slid back.
Yeah.
And again, it's believed that the boxes themselves weigh how much?
70 tons. We got an ad, but I think he says 70 tons. Not 70 tons, guys.
One of the benefits about PayPal is many of the
for the box.
Hold on. Let me make sure I'm right on this.
That the boxes themselves weigh how much?
70 ton for the box and 30 ton for the lid.
70 ton for the bottom, 30 ton for the lid. That's how fucking heavy this shit is. How do you get 1,000 people down in here to move this shit?
So the total of 100 ton for the box and the lid.
100 tons. You guys don't hear about all of this shit because it's so incredible. You'd think that this would be like when people talk about Egypt, it wouldn't just be, oh yeah, there's 3 pyramids. They're pretty big. And look, there's a cat thing. It's called the Sphinx. And it looks pretty cool too. Wow, they made all this out of stone? Bro, this is 100-ton box. They've been moving around underground. 100 tons. This is incredible. Fuck the pyramids. This is incredible.
in the range.
And this is not local stone.
No, this is not local stone.
So this is from a quarry that is miles and miles away as well, where they get all of this granite.
Where was it brought from, do you think?
Not closer than Aswan, which is 1,000 kilometers from here.
Yeah, Aswan is one of the places where they get a lot of the like rose granite and stuff. It's one of the quarries.
Well, as you've heard Yusuf say, the box and the lid, of which there are more than 20 of them, each one in its recess, weighs about 100 tons. The stone is from at least 1,000 kilometers away, and yet the official statement is that these were made during dynastic times, the late period, as burials for sacred bulls, the Apis bull.
Bro, how sacred is a bull that you need 1,000 people to move 100-ton box to bury it in under the desert? How important is a fucking bull?
However, the level of tolerance and engineering and finish in this incredibly hard stone, which the dynastic Egyptians did not have the tools to shape it.
Guys, beyond that, granite, this is one of the big debates among the Egyptologists and archaeologists in Egypt. Dynastic Egypt only had copper tools. Copper doesn't do shit to granite. Now, they argue all of these various techniques about, oh, well, so what they did is they used copper tools, but they poured sand down in it. This is like the most recent excuse that they give why, oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Copper won't cut granite, so we got to figure out some other explanation. And they say, oh, well, when they went to cut copper, they poured sand into it. But that is such a long process. Again, guys, they are the ones saying that this only took 40 years, and they're pouring sand in to cut pieces of stone. This is just like, I'd like to see someone actually do it. This is the thing, is they say these techniques work or whatever. I don't know that there's footage of them testing this technique, and it's this one little spot on a piece of I don't even know if it's granite or limestone, which is softer, but either way, they do have a little a demonstration part where they show there's a copper thing, saw type of thing that they pour sand into, and as far as I've ever seen, they're only like a centimeter into this stone after all these people have come by and moved it back and forth and stuff.
Tells us that.
So we don't have an actual, as far as I know, we don't have an actual demonstration of how they use their tools at someone today using what Egyptians had and actually carving a stone in the amount of time that they would have to do it, the speed, the rate at which they would have had to have done it to be able to construct all this shit in 40 years.
We're looking at an older construction than what Egyptologists say from probably several thousand years ago. And the only way that these boxes were quarried, moved, and put into place underground here and finished would have been using forms of technology that not only the ancient dynastic Egyptians did not have, but that we also do not have to this day, because engineer Chris Dunn, author of books such as the Giza Power Plant, asked a firm in the United States if they could replicate one of these out of one piece. And they said, no, we require 4 pieces for the sides, 1 piece for the bottom, another piece for the lid. So
you guys are hearing what he's explaining here. So this architect, Christopher Dunn, who specializes, he writes books on his theories on the architect that he sees that exists in Egypt and what it's actually meant for and all this shit. This guy explains that he went to some stonework companies or firms or whatever to ask them about constructing if they could replicate one of these boxes. So it is a 100-ton box that is carved out of one piece of granite. And these guys are saying we don't want any part in this. No, we're not. Number one, we can't do it like they did it. The lid would have to be made out of a separate piece, and then you'd need 5 pieces for the sides and the very bottom of the bottom piece. The actual box would have to be 5 separate pieces, and the lid would have to be a separate piece, and we'd have to like glue them together.
21st century technology, even with an unlimited budget, we cannot achieve this today.
We don't talk about much.
Uh-huh.
We see this, the tunnel itself.
Just wait till we get to see the boxes up close, guys. It's coming up. Holyoke Joe, thank you for hitting the like over on the Facebook. I appreciate it.
It's all carved in the bedrock.
Right.
So imagine if we turned off this light now, we're not going to be even able to see our palms right ahead of us.
Right.
So imagine that you are actually doing this, the challenge of this work in the dark. What you're going to be using? A flame? There is no even markings of any of this in dark. And there are no openings.
So this is another point they're making too, guys, that this is that is very intriguing, is how the fuck they got all this stuff down in here and they had no fucking lights. The mainstream says they have no lights. However, there are hieroglyphics with light bulbs, showing light bulbs, the Crookes tube, which I can show you guys before we get off here. It's not too late. It's 10:05. There are depictions in hieroglyphics, carvings of what appear to be light bulbs existing in ancient Egypt. But if you don't believe that, then you have to think that not only did it take however many hundreds of men, maybe 1,000 men, to move one of these 1-ton boxes down here, you had to have people holding torches or something. But then that doesn't even work. When you look at the ceiling, there are no markings of soot that would account for thousands of men holding torches under here to move these boxes and then finish them and carve them in place. Again, later in this video, you will see some of these boxes are polished perfectly smooth, but then have hieroglyphics added to the outside.
In the ceiling. Again, if you're doing this work in the open, it was going to be much less challenging. If we're going to be dragging these megalithic boxes, at least the box without the lid is 50 tons. And you need around 2,000 men to drag this 50 tons.
Count on American Express Business Platinum.
This is what I'm saying, guys. No matter who the fuck did it, it is just like an incredible undertaking. And we just don't know what the fuck they did. That is like the coolest part. Just our fucking ego and how sophisticated and smart and technical we think we are. And we are baffled by this.
Okay. And if we looked at the width,
experts in architect are baffled by this shit.
Of the tunnel, it's maximum 2 feet wider than the width of the box, like the one we see here.
Yeah.
And we already measured that before. So there is actually no space for even 500 people or 200 people to be there and doing the dragging.
And also lowering the box down into
that it's housed at lower level. That's another challenge.
Right.
Because now you have to turn with it and then take it on a lower level. And you can see it's almost perfect, the space from all sides.
Yeah.
And there used to be other devices, I believe, in this place, which we can see that there is a carving in the wall to house something else. I believe it could be a false door, or what we know as the false door, which is another device that can possibly regulate frequency and sound, or create standing waves and controlling also the wavelength of sound frequency. So the only reason again and again that we date and relate and identify these boxes is according to the writings on it. And here in this case, we find maximum 3 boxes with writings on them and more than 20 ones plain without writings.
Right.
And the one that the officials believe it's the most valuable one because it contains most of the writings has the worstest writing example that you can see, especially when you compare it with the surface of high-tech machining like the one we see.
What Yusuf is saying.
Yeah, so what he's laying out here is, like I explained earlier, when they come across a pyramid or a box or some shit, there will be carvings on the outside of the box. And so a lot of the time, they will say, okay, this box on the outside, it mentions Khafra or Khufu or whatever pharaoh. So they attribute the work to that pharaoh or that pharaoh's people, the people of that era. When, guys, that's like if I fucking walked up to a Target and spray painted my name on the outside of a Target and someone walked along, I guess Steve built this. That's literally the same thing.
And what we'll see in this next segment is the fact that the quality of the finished surface of the box itself is far superior to the actual writing or hieroglyphics on the surface. Many archaeologists believe that the surface itself, the shaping of the box, and the fine surface are contemporary with the writings, but that makes absolutely no sense because the writing is inferior. And if they had the technology to be able to do the cutting, moving, shaping, and finishing of the box, then they would have had the capability of elegant and eloquent carving of the hieroglyphics, and that's not the case. So clearly what you're looking at, you're looking at a super ancient series of these boxes, and later they were discovered by the dynastic Egyptians in situ, underground here, and the dynastic Egyptians carved the hieroglyphs on the surface. This is an example of...
So yeah, guys, this goes along with the theme that we've been talking about here. Some lost civilization, which I know this is controversial and debated a lot, but this goes along with the theory that some group of people had some grasp of some kind of ability, technique, technology, whatever the case is, some people that were masters at carving and moving megalithic stones. You will see the polish work on these boxes, and you will notice just how perfect they are. And then the hieroglyphics that are carved into the boxes, into the side, look like chicken scratch. It's not like the cool pictures you see in some of the tombs and stuff. The hieroglyphics on these boxes look like fucking chicken scratch, and you can see mess ups and imperfections. You can see parts where they were trying to make a straight line and they went off to the side and stuff. Like, it's really shoddy work compared to the perfection of the flatness and polish of these stones. The boxes with the lids are gas tight. They are airtight. The lids, it's like hermetically sealed. It is perfectly flat.
Cycling of one culture creating something and another culture coming and adding their part to it. So this is where Yusuf is going to show us the difference.
Here's where it gets good, guys. Here we go.
Between the surface of the box itself and the quality of the carving.
Well, it really, Brian, doesn't require a professional to realize the difference between how sharp the cuts are. And
look at this, guys. This looks like a little kid's drawings. Look at how you can see the imperfections. Look at this. How it just looks like it was done with an unsteady hand, and it was just sort of like, this looks like it's added later.
The surface is, and how crude the writings are, because
look at how crude. Look at this, how it jumps up here a little bit. This pops down a little bit, and it's not exact. The line is kind of faded here, and this isn't weathering. These boxes have been underground. Hello, there's no sand and wind weathering underground.
In cases like what we see over here, for example, this is a marking of a primitive tool that could not even create a straight line on the surface.
Right.
That's so clear. It doesn't require even a professional in machining to see the difference in these surfaces. Look at that here, for example, there's a point here when the tool.
Look at the light reflecting off of the box, though. This is how smooth this is. Besides the scratchings, the carvings, it's like incredibly smooth.
Slid over because it was not sharp enough even to scratch the surface. Right here. That will happen when you use a tool that's not solid enough to conquer the surface of cyanide here.
Damn it!
And the other mystery we see here, how this was polished. You see, the first time I looked at that, I saw many bent area like this. Yet it received that extreme polishing.
Right.
So it didn't make sense, because if you are polishing following the theory of Egyptologists, that this would be polished by sand and a piece of quartz or a piece of diorite with water, then how can he fit this polish into the deeper parts?
Look at the reflection, guys. Look at that. Look at when he just walked over there. The reflection on this.
With water, then how can he fit this?
Look at this. This is how perfect this is.
This polish.
Look at the reflection.
Into the deeper parts that we see, like this one here. So there had to be something else. And then when we looked close, we realized the fact this was not polished. The surface here was not polished. That shiny surface was not polished by sand and water. It was polished by an alchemy formula of some kind, that it was once a liquid. This liquid was cased in the box, and then as any liquid, it will come down to the bottom of the lid, like what we see here.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about this. So, yeah, they think the outside of this had something is what this had to do with liquid, because at the edges, you can see what looks like. So anybody that has, if you've stained or, painted, I guess too, but like if you stained wood before, when you, like I was having to stain this box thing that my mom had built out of wood, and it's like drips. When you get drips on the edge from the stain, this is what it looks like under this box.
And create drops coming down.
Right.
If you followed, here is a clear one.
Yeah.
This clearly was a liquid, and we see the marking of the liquid running in the bottom of the lid gives exactly the same shiny surface like here, but not deeper, where that liquid didn't go. So this is the smooth surface by the machining, and this is the polished surface by the liquid, and there is no process of sand and water and a piece of rock to polish. This is a ridiculous theory, because here we can see a clear evidence that it was an alchemy formula that they made, probably acid with something else.
So as you can see, this is
wow. I'm sorry if this is too much for some people, but I love watching this shit.
a classic example of the things that we're trying to look at, not only here in Egypt, but also in places like Peru and Bolivia. You have a standard archaeological explanation for the function of something, which when an engineer and or stonemason looks at it, they say there's no way. There's no way that the dynastic Egyptians with copper or bronze chisels and stone hammers could have achieved what we're looking at, and therefore the Greeks afterwards couldn't have done it. The Romans afterwards couldn't have done it. The Islamic people after that couldn't have done it. 21st century technology can't do it. We have no choice but to look farther back in time and look for a civilization that had lost ancient high technology superior to what we have today.
This is just crazy shit, guys. This is actually fucking nuts, man. So yeah, guys, go follow Brian Forrester wherever. I'm telling you, this guy has all kinds of fucking interesting. Am I even following this? So I was subscribed before, but that was when my I just subscribed again. But yeah, my last YouTube channel got deleted, guys. So yeah, that's why I'm not subscribed here. Oh, I just farted. So yeah, guys, I don't know if he's still doing this, but Brian Forrester, he does tours. He'll take you right down to see the boxes yourself.
No.
That's fucking nuts, man. Oh. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it's 10:20. About to hit the old dusty trail. But I'm intrigued, guys. I'm excited to see what information, what the fuck comes out with this stuff. We will definitely cover more of this Egypt stuff. So because there's so much that I want to show you guys with this. And the last time I really did a full episode about Egypt stuff was an audio only podcast thing. So now that I'm streaming, I definitely want to show you some of this stuff that got me interested in this, because this is, like I said, guys, whether you think conspiracies are dumb and you have no reason to believe Graham Hancock's take on Egyptian history, even if you just want to believe the mainstream shit, this is still just incredible stuff, man. It's baffling how any of this shit was done. And it is crazy to me when you see people like Zahi Hawass, who whenever you have an alternative theory about something, he loses his fucking shit. Let me show it before we get out of here. That's what I'll show you. This is oh, fuck. Hold on. Graham Hancock, Zahi Hawass. Oh, my God. Okay, here we go, guys. Here we go. Let me show you guys this before we get out of here. This is what the alternative people are dealing with. When you want to bring them some theory about something, this is how they act.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Ryan Coogler, director.
Not this. This is an ad.
Of Sinners.
It's Michael B. Jordan.
You got one little.
I don't give a fuck, dog. Okay, so this is Graham Hancock. He had scheduled a debate with Zahi Hawass, and the motherfucker ran. He got pissed off and started cussing and ran out of the auditorium. So look at this shit.
He's a thief, and I don't want to talk to him. And I don't want his name to be mentioned. He's not academic. He is nothing.
We do not do ad hominem arguments. We do not debate the land.
Listen,
we debate the matter.
The matter is debated really and closed. It is debated closed.
The science is settled, guys. Where have we heard that before? It's closed. The discussion is closed. It's settled.
Those in Chicago, by orders, remember, by everyone.
Then how you don't want to hear anything like that?
Exactly, I don't want to hear it.
Shame on you.
No, please, don't say this to me.
It's true.
Don't say this word to me. It's a shame on you, not on me.
To have an open discussion about all that.
Don't talk to me.
This is the guy, Zahi Hawass, the one yelling right now, the big fat baby yelling right now. This is the guy that says the LiDAR scans are fake. This guy right here. This is how he reacts to new information.
Go away from me. Shame on you. Why you say something to me? Why? I don't want to. This man did bad things. I don't want to do this.
This man.
And I'm going to call. I'm going to let this man know that this country happen.
You hear that? So Zahi just said he's not going to allow this guy to enter the country, speaking about a different person, but he actually did ban Graham Hancock. If I'm not mistaken, Graham Hancock was banned from Egypt. He's not even allowed to go back there to explore shit.
It's not my own business.
Really, we should get.
Please, I don't want to talk to you. Please, leave me alone.
So basically, you're saying
why someone talk about a killing of someone else? Why? Why is talking about a killing that has been closed? Why have to open the theory again?
So the part of the theory that Zahi will refuse to debate Graham on is the alignment with the three pyramids on the Giza Plateau, the three main ones, and their alignment with Orion's belt and the relationship between the Sphinx and possibly older construction. So they one of the things that the alternative people bring up is Göbekli Tepe. And Göbekli Tepe is a different structure, a megalithic structure that is in Turkey. Or wait, Turkey or Syria? I think it's Turkey. Anyway, it's a hop, skip, and a jump from Egypt. It's not far at all. And this structure, Göbekli Tepe, is proven to be over 11,000 years old. So they know, and this wasn't until a few years ago, that they actually proved Göbekli Tepe is like 12,000 years old, 11,000 years old. So this proves back 11,000 years ago, people were building megalithic structures, which initially, guys, was thought to be not the case. So they say, okay, well, this is just a few miles from Egypt, and it's a structure called Göbekli Tepe, and it's proven to be like 12,000 years old. So why not consider the possibility maybe some of the stuff in Egypt is a little bit older? And this guy will just flip his shit.
It is not closed.
It is closed.
No, it's not.
Everywhere. And I don't know why you talk about it. It's not, it's his fucking thing. Why do you talk about it? You have to present your work here, not to present the
It
thing.
is not closed, sir.
Okay, I close
And
it. I am all that had you wanted to close it.
I am presenting my own.
Okay, I'm not going to attend this.
I have
I'm
written
going to
yours,
give my
Mr.
talk.
Bobby.
I'm not going to attend this.
And he's gone.
Even before a word is exchanged, one image, and Mr. Hawass leaves the room. Shame. I'm here. I'm willing to debate. I do believe this is a great shame for Egyptology.
Guys, this is what we're dealing with here. This is why people think that there's validity to alternative theories, because fuckboys like Zahi Hawass have been running the show, shouting other people down and banning them from Egypt to do research.
that's not what I'm talking about.
Sorry, Bhaval is sent to the alternative army.
Yeah.
Buval, that they're referring to, is the guy that came up with the theory about the alignment relating between Orion's belt and the three pyramids, if I'm not mistaken. So that's why they're talking about Bhuval. Graham Hancock pulled up an image of the alignment that Bhuval theorizes, and Zahi Hawass flipped his shit because he saw that.
We cannot have a discussion without Bhuval.
Okay, so yeah, here they explain it. Dr. Zahi Hawass was reacting to this image of Robert Bhuval. He returned to give his talk, but did not engage in the planned debate. So let's, while we're still here, I guess we can pull up the other one. We'll go deeper into this some other night, guys, but okay, here we go.
Snap your W-2 and file your taxes 100% free. Plus, get your biggest refund. File free now. Roughly 37% of filers qualify. Simple.
Tepe is
fucking Forrester and Hancock are not very studied at all, Donald Ferguson. What do you mean they're not very studied? Like they're not very knowledgeable? Why would someone run from a debate from someone who is a layman? They're toying with you people. We do this behind the scenes every fucking day. What are you talking about, bro?
firmly dated to 9,600 BC.
Okay, so I think he's talking about Göbekli Tepe, 900,000 BC, which would be 11,000 years ago.
Tepe is firmly dated to 9,600 BC. It consists of a vast series of gigantic megalithic pillars, more than 70% of which are still under the ground. They're revealed by ground-penetrating radar. It's
ground-penetrating radar that Zahi Hawass thinks is fake. And they found this on the hill and then dug it up and looks like, oh, wow, ground-penetrating radar actually works.
It raises questions over the origin of civilization, since we have not anywhere in the world before found a gigantic megalithic construction dated to 11,600 years ago. And since Turkey is not very far away from here, and since I at least feel there are question marks over the Sphinx, I think it's relevant to consider the recent discovery of a gigantic megalithic site in Turkey dated to 11,600 years ago, and to wonder whether we should raise questions over the Sphinx again.
I don't think that what has been said is right. It has nothing to do with anything. In my opinion, we know the date of the Sphinx. What has been found in Turkey, I don't think, and I don't know if this is true or not. Did you ever hear about this? Make a comment.
Yes, the Turkey, it's Eastern Turkey actually, to the east of Ankara, between Ankara and Van. If you look at the traditional dates for ancient Egypt and compare it with Göbekli Tepe, which dates actually from the late 11th millennium BC through the 10th millennium BC. These are two civilizations worlds apart. I wouldn't call it a civilization in the case of Göbekli Tepe, because civilization is characterized by several features like inscriptions, high culture, religion, etc. What we know about Göbekli Tepe is that those people living 7,000 years before ancient Egyptian civilization came into being created these circular, say, temples or sacred places. The monoliths are 3 to 4 meters high. So
no matter the radar showed anything, because I don't believe in radar. I have been using radar all my work. It never been in the sky.
Wow. Listen to him. He's talking about the radar now. He's like, radar does not work.
Well, I'm afraid the radar does show, and you're discrediting the German Archaeological Institute. And Professor Klaus Schmidt, who sadly passed away a few months ago, a very sincere and decent, hardworking man, who has published his findings and which are not in dispute. Göbekli Tepe is 11,600 years old. It is a giant megalithic site.
Klaus Schmidt is the guy who dug up Göbekli Tepe and properly dated it to 11,600 BC.
This is very far from Egypt. It is a relevant context, in my view. At least it should cause us to have some curiosity about some of the sites in Egypt.
If I can take a stand as a person independent on these two respected gentlemen, in my opinion, Göbekli Tepe and Sphinx or Old Kingdom Egypt can't be compared. They are separated by millennia of history. It's different type of architecture. It's different type of culture, my opinion. And of course, we can't expand on this topic any further at this moment because most of us, most of you, are not familiar with the issues. But take some time in the evening, look it up on Google, and you will see if there are common points, common characteristics in between these two places. And I leave it open to your judgment.
The argument about the Sphinx made by Dr. Mark Langer some years ago was that the Sphinx couldn't possibly be 12,000 years old because there was no other site, no other megalithic site anywhere in the world which was anywhere in the range of 12,000 years old.
So yeah, this is an interesting part too, is the whole argument with the Sphinx, the timeline of how this all has been laid out. So when Robert Schoch and these other guys, Graham Hancock, John Anthony West, when they first went to investigate the Sphinx, this was like, a decade or two ago. These guys went years ago and looked at the Sphinx and said, something's not right here. Number one, the head's been recarved a bunch of times, and there's water erosion on the Sphinx enclosure. Now, the body and head of the Sphinx, again, they've been reworked and stuff, so you don't have the original stone to look at. You can't look at the body and the head of the Sphinx and know that it's been weathered. You actually have to look at the enclosure. So only the head of the Sphinx is above the ground. The rest of the body is underground level. So the head is the only thing that's at above ground level. The rest of the body is down. It's carved out of the rock that exists in the ground, and there's a whole big pit. It's basically like a big pit that the fucking Sphinx is resting in, carved out of a big bunch of fucking limestone. So the walls of this enclosure, the Sphinx pit enclosure, the walls have not been recarved because who cares about the walls, right? You want to make the Sphinx and preserve the Sphinx and touch it up. You work on the Sphinx itself, and no one cares about the walls that are surrounding it. So these walls bear the what some people would say is unmistakable water erosion on them. So when these guys saw the Sphinx, they investigated and said there's water erosion, there's all these issues. We think the Sphinx is way older, like 12,000 years or so, at least that old, way older than what the Egyptologists say. They first proposed this, and the Egyptologists at the time said, there's no way the Sphinx is 12,000 years old because there's no other megalithic structures that are 12,000 years old. Well, now we have proven, since then, they have proven that Göbekli Tepe, the structure in Turkey, which is not far from Egypt, that has been proven to be 12,000 years old, around 12,000 years old. So that discredits the Egyptologists' first debunk response to the alternative theory of the Sphinx. They have been debunked. So now you got to figure something else out. They said it couldn't have been, Sphinx can't be 12,000 years old because there's no other structures 12,000 years old. Well, now we have that.
When we have a major discovery conducted by a respected archaeological institute in Turkey of a major megalithic site, which is 11,600 years old, I believe it vitiates that argument against an absence of context for the Sphinx, which is also a megalithic monument. By the way, I have no argument with Dr. Hawass over the dating of the pyramids. It's the megalithic sites here at Giza that are of interest to me.
Okay, thank you. More questions, perhaps? Yes.
Home instead for a better what's next.
Oh, that's it? I thought there was another, someone asked a question and Zahi flipped out again. Oh, well, we'll revisit some of this stuff another night, guys. There's a bunch of shit. There's a bunch of shit that we got to get into. Karen Tepe is about 15,000 years old. Granted, is nicer than Egypt. I'm not familiar with that, but if that is the case, no, that's in. Yeah, it's close to Göbekli Tepe. Yeah, this is probably around the same era. You're saying it's 15,000 years. There's stelas, T-shaped stela, pillars. Yeah, that's cool. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. This has been Dark Times with Dark Match Steve. I knew I was going to end up going later tonight if we were talking about Egypt. I can't help myself. I've just been edging this whole time. So let me get out of here so I can finally blizzo my Lizzode. Lovers, thank you all for hanging with me. I'll be back on tomorrow night, I'm sure. We're going to get into all the drama and the nonsense tomorrow night. We'll see what happens if they talk about the Rhett situation on Bubba's show. And there's also a segment from today's show that I want to go over with you guys and break down. So we'll get into all that tomorrow night. So stay tuned. I'll catch you guys here. I should be on 8 o'clock. I don't know if Steiny Boy is going on, but yeah, I should be on 8 o'clock. So yeah, guys, this was fun. I'm telling you, we'll revisit this. We'll do another deep dive sometime soon. I'll show you guys a bunch of other videos of stuff that is very intriguing. Again, whether you believe the alternative stuff or not, it is very just intriguing, awe-inspiring stuff. So thank you guys for all the support. I really appreciate it. Donald Ferguson, Dutch Duke's up in here. What's up, bro? You're welcome, man. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Yeah, I used to be into a lot of this shit. I gotta show you guys some of this stuff because it's really interesting. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging. Again, fucking Keith Yaher threw $100 at me. Goddamn, bro. You guys are, for real, you guys are too nice. I really, really appreciate it because this does take a lot of time out of my life. Of course, I love streaming and I love doing the parody stuff, but it's work. I love it. And I, in theory, do it all for free, but you guys throwing a few dollars at me and stuff really does help a lot. If anyone else is interested in doing that, of course, it's not required. You must at least hit the like button. That is required. And if you don't, I will find you. But If you want to help support the show a little bit more, you can do that at PayPal. I'm Darkmatch, DARKMATCH, and Venmo, I'm Darkmatch Steve, DARKMATCH STEVE. But again, guys, it's not required. It's just a little, extra to help me out. I do have a normal job. Okay, so, but anyway, I appreciate the support so much, guys. Hey, can you see me? Yes, I can see you. MTPT, thank you, bro. Yeah, you're always in here telling people to hit the like button. I really appreciate it. All right, guys. Fucking, this has been Dark Times with Darkmatch Steve. I love you. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Mwah.